Yeah.
Good
How you
morning.
doing?
Thanks
Okay.
for having me. Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited about today's topic. It's one of those topics that I think is an interesting one because it's probably one of the biggest challenges I think we're having in the industry is trying to understand the internet empowered consumer and what the internet empowered consumer does and what realtors think they're doing and how we're doing things don't connect. And it finds that a lot of times agents say, internet leads, they're not good and they're not worth while and they're not worth having in that. But at the end of the day, we find people that are having success and having some, building some teams and businesses around it and that. So I just wanted to just help today with our topic being internet lead conversion and focusing on converting internet leads versus creating those leads. And so I'm going to assume that everybody knows where to go or they have an idea of where they can get leads from Zillow and different topics and different sources and that. What I'm going to focus on today is that taking those leads and actually converting them into appointments and into contracts and into business and into paychecks and that. So that's where I'm going to really, really focus on today and help you hopefully get a better understanding that, hey, I'm not doing these things. I need to be doing these things. I'm missing out a lot of gaps in my internet lead conversion process and system that I need to fill in today and start seeing the rewards and the fruits of my labor come to fruition. So the thing we find here is that about a decade ago there was Gary Keller's book called The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, and that book was just one message, and one message, which is an important message, was just get more leads. You can solve all realtors' problems if they just have more leads. And so for the last decade, it's get more leads, get more leads, get more leads, get more leads. And we're following the Keller method, which is a great method and don't disagree with them at all. I mean, if you don't have enough leads, then you just deal with the bad people and the bad deals and all the bad stuff and that. But if you have more than enough leads in business and real estate, you can pick and choose who you want to work with. And that's the best position we all want to be in is that I want to have so many leads that I can pick and choose the people that I want to work with and that I want to do business with. They don't pick and choose me. And so if you don't have enough leads, then you end up having to work with people and work with clients and deal with properties and that you didn't want to and that you don't have a choice and don't have an option. So Keller's method for the last 10 years was get more leads. Now, once we focused on how in getting more leads the last 10 years, we created a new problem, and that was how do we convert these leads? So we can get leads. Leads are easy to find. They're not inexpensive, but they're easy to find. We can find so many different resources and so many different companies and so many different services and so many different avenues that could create a buyer lead or a selling lead or a listing lead for a real estate agent. That's not the problem. We got leads coming out of the yin yang. The problem now is the last 10 years is that we have some of the most challenging and most conversion inept salespeople in history, and we're all struggling with the lead conversion. We're all struggling on how do I methodically and strategically and procedurally and precisely convert that lead into an appointment and in a face-to-face into a contract and into some sales and into some business. And that's what I want to try and help with today is not focus on the actual lead gen, but actually focus on lead conversion and how we actually turn that lead into a deal and into a sale. Okay. Now, just a little bit of a background. This is important. This statistic comes from NAR. The stat says that the research shows that the average buyer, internet-empowered buyer, is searching a property or searching for 2 weeks on their own prior to contacting a real estate agent. Okay, so they have been doing their homework. They have been anonymous in that. So one thing I need you to understand is that the reason why the internet-empowered consumer exists is because they love the fact that they have anonymity, meaning that they're in control. They can't be bothered by a salesperson. They're online, they're safe, they're anonymous, and they're there and they're doing their thing and they're doing their research and they're getting acquainted and they're getting informed and they're getting equipped. All right. So you have to respect and acknowledge that anonymity and the fact that they want to be empowered and they want to be in control themselves. Okay. Now, if they're doing all that work online, that's the same reason why they're not responding to you in the first 2 weeks of their real estate process in the internet lead. Okay, so if you know that they're taking 2 weeks of researching and empowering themselves and equipping themselves online, you got to be patient with internet empowered consumers now. If they're researching 2 weeks, then you got to understand that the day that they reach and click onto your website, and I don't know if everybody knows this, but on average, an internet empowered consumer is going on to 11 different sites. And the reason why they're going on to multiple different sites is because they believe that they're going to find another listing or another property that they couldn't find on one site that they're going to find on another site. And so they just keep jumping around. And on average, they're going to 11 different sites to research and find information and find properties that they're looking at, okay? So we've not only got an internet-empowered consumer that's taking 2 weeks on average to research, but they're going on 11 different websites, which means that you've got 11 other agents that you're up against and competing against with these empowered consumers as well. So realizing that they're taking 2 weeks to research and to bring themselves up to speed, realizing that they're looking at 11 or more different websites and that you got a lot of competition and you got to be patient, understanding that, I think, is the best way to position that and to realize that this is not going to be in my time. This is not going to be a quick fix. That there are going on multiple sources in that, and so you're going to have to understand that. So prior to contacting a real estate agent, potential buyers and sellers can be reluctant to releasing their information. So you may only get one piece of the pie. You may only get a phone number. You may only get a first name. You may not that, right? So the majority of the internet leads are missing a part of that information. So you might have to do a little bit of digging or a little bit of research on top of that because they're only going to give you a piece of their contact information. So your sleuthing and your detective skills come into play as well. So understanding, be patient, 2 weeks on average of equipping and researching and looking, okay? 11 different websites, okay? You're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to be a bit of a detective. You're going to have to equip yourself, and you're going to have to respect their anonymity and that they're reluctant to give you control, and they want to be in control until what Google says is the ZMOT. It's the zero moment of truth. It's the time in which an internet-empowered consumer puts their hand up and says, "Hi, Wade, I'm here." And so because you don't hear from them doesn't mean they're not legit. Because you don't hear from them might be that they're in day 2 of their process, of their 14-day process. So you got to understand that just because you don't hear back from them doesn't mean they're not real, doesn't mean they're not legit. Just because they're only giving you a partial bit of their information doesn't mean that they're not legit. And understanding that and being patient with it is part of the battle for us in lead conversion and doing that. And a lot of agents don't have patience. They don't have that concept of that. And so if you're going to be an internet-empowered consumer expert in real estate, you're going to have the patience of Jobs. Whether you like it or not, you're going to have to understand that and understand who they are as a consumer. Now, looking at the numbers, this source isn't an inexpensive source, okay? So you can see people that pay, a lot of money for leads and spend a lot of money in that. Now, you can look at it and go, Facebook ads, well, that's where you're getting quality, not quantity, because Facebook allows us to be able to more strategically target components and leads, okay? Google, you get the quantity, but you don't get the quality. So it's 6 of one, half does the other. And the jury's out what's better, Google AdWords or leads or Facebook ads or Zillow or Trillia or whatever source in that. At the end of the day, I think you have to just find a source that's within your budget. You have to find a source, whether you want quality or quantity, or if you want quantity and quality, and you have to understand that how they work and how they play on this arena, and understand that you're going to have to focus your time and energy and effort on becoming a student of lead conversion and not worry about the lead gen and the amount of lead generation that you're looking at, okay? Are there any comments or questions moving into this? Any comments or questions about the number of sites or the length of time or the cost or whether Google's better than Facebook or Facebook is better than Google? Any thoughts or any questions at this point in the presentation, you guys?
Yeah, Wade, I do. So my question is, Facebook allows for their info to be auto-filled.
Correct.
So the consumer is not even aware that they requested information. So it's almost like a fake lead.
Okay.
Because they clicked on it and they're like, oh, I just wanted to kind of see where it takes me.
Yes.
And the auto-filled, now you got a new lead, and they say, oh, well, I never wanted to talk to you.
Right.
And so where do you go from there?
So you say, oh, sorry about that. You acknowledge that. But while I'm here, can I be of assistance, right? So a lot of time,
No.
right? Oh, and that's fine. So then you're going to have to move on to that next lead, or you're going to have to maybe stick around and maybe suggest a couple of other things that they might need that you have, and try closing them a couple times before you let that lead go, if that makes sense, Jimmy. So what I would suggest is, hey, I've got this. Would this be of interest to you? Still no. Hey, I've got this. Would this be of interest to you? Still no. Hey, I've got this. Would this be of interest to you? Still no. So my mentor and my legend trainer always said, Wade, always try 3 times. If you try 3 times and you still get a no, then you know that you don't have a qualified lead, and that's okay. But if you try 3 times, if you ask somebody 3 times and they are legitimately a lead, Jamil, the statistics say I got a 62% chance of them on the 3rd time saying, you know what, I would like that. Okay, so I guess what I'm saying to you in this particular case is, yes, sometimes they don't want to talk to us. They don't want to talk to us ever. Yes, they sometimes pretend that they didn't sign up or they didn't do this or they didn't realize what was happening. That's fine. But while I've got you here, could I offer this to you? No. Could I offer this to you? No. Could I offer this to you? No. Once I get 3 no's, then I'm going to just move on. Okay? Right? So if they don't want a complimentary, maybe a complimentary newsletter about what's happening in their marketplace, or would they want this particular, would they like to be hooked up to an auto listing alert process, or would they like a complimentary evaluation? If I'm getting 3 strikes, then they're out, I'm out, and I'm just moving on, and that's fine. I tried my best to try and see if they were a legit or qualified lead.
Okay. So Century 21 has a exclusive thing with Facebook, and they can, within 3 minutes, you have an ad on your new listing.
Yes.
That you can put together.
Yes.
And it's really in the time of it, right?
Yes.
They do all the work. It's
yes.
templated, and you can customize the wording that you want. But basically, I've tried it 3 times.
Yes.
Each ad is $150. They spend $119 on the spend.
Yes.
You know, the ad spend, and the ad itself is only $30. So I'm getting 20 to 25 leads per listing. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
For the investment.
What's your cost per lead then? Cost per lead? Do you know what the ad average out to? What's that average out to?
I mean, if I spend $149.
Yeah.
Divide that by the minimum.
Yes.
20.
Yes.
$7.45.
Yeah. So just everybody on the call. So when you're in that $7 range, Jamil, you're probably about half of what the normal cost is per lead. Okay. So everybody in the call, it's about on average $12 to $14 per lead cost. Okay. So Jamil,
how much is it?
12 to 14.
So that's cheap.
Yeah, that's cheap. Those are inexpensive, right? Those are a good ROI for that dollar amount per lead.
Right, but the leads, I mean, it's almost like daunting trying to follow up with them.
True.
It's a full-time job.
True.
It's a full-time job.
So maybe like when I speak to like Boomtown ROI, or I speak to Conversion, or and I'm just throwing names out. When I talk to some of the big players, that's a $12 to $14 lead, but that lead might be better quality than your $7 lead, and it might be worthwhile spending the 14 versus the 7 that you're generating, because you're generating $7 lead, but they're not flourishing or growing into anything else other than a no, and a no.
Yeah.
Makes sense? So maybe I'm looking at another player where I can go for quality of lead, but paying a bit more money for that quality lead and having better results than saving money and doing the $7 system in one, and I'm getting 3 no's and striking out every time.
Yeah.
Okay. So my message to you would be is test the market, but ask around. Ask and look and see what other people are using and where they're having success. Figure out what their spend is, and then figure out what you can afford to spend in that. Now, bottom line, guys, if you don't have a budget for $14 per lead, then this isn't probably a lead generation arena that you should be playing in, because you got to pay to play. Like my super team in my company here, they're probably spending $10,000, $20,000 a month. So if that's where your budget is, that's great. If you don't have that kind of budget, then you may have to find other areas where you're getting less leads but higher quality leads, and spending that $14 per lead cost versus the $7 per lead cost system that you're using now, Jamil.
Quick question for you. Do you use Zillow?
Yeah, and
to get
Zillow's,
leads?
and yeah, people have success with Zillow and that. I mean, at the end of the day, what you're looking for is you're looking for a conversion rate. The industry average, and we're going to talk about that right now. The every average, guys, you have to understand, is about 1.5% to 2%. Okay,
Yeah.
so some of the best lead converting coaching clients that I've had, and that is that 10% to 11% up. So today I'm going to share with you one of the teams that I coach and how they get 11% conversion, which is
Another
astronomical.
question for you.
Yes, please.
One question here from a member of the audience
Yes.
was, how do you do it? How do you get leads?
Yeah, so we use the system. I personally use the system through the old success websites, Craig Proctor system, right? Out of Craig Proctor system and that. One of my other top teams uses Real Estate Webmasters. Another top team that I coach uses Boomtown ROI. Another team, I guess the question is the system you use is, I believe you get what you pay for. So I believe that if you're spending a bit more money, you're getting a better quality lead and a better amount of leads and that. If you're going on budget, right, then consider somebody like a cheaper source. For example, like Agent Locator. Okay, they're a budget entry level online lead budget system that's in the hundreds, where you can go up and up and up, where you're dealing with the value. Again, I believe that you got to spend a couple $1,000 a month on lead gen to get the higher quality leads and the better quality leads that you can convert those leads. Okay. And
So Zillow wants 20 leads for $3,700 a month for Dublin.
yeah, and that's probably the going rate.
I mean, that's like $200, almost 200 or 180 per lead.
Yeah, that's high. That's high.
That's high.
That's really on the high side. Really on the high side.
$3,700.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Yeah, so I believe that you can use other sources like Conversion, or you can use Boomtown ROI or Real Estate Webmasters or Tiger Leads or other sources. Shop around and figure out what fits your budget and what you can financially afford, and then figure out which one has the better track record of higher quality leads based on that. But you got to understand, you're going into an arena that if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to have a conversion rate of 1.5% to 2%. I'm going to share with you today a system that's going to give you 11% success rate versus a 1.5% to 2% success rate. And this is the best system and best process that I've seen for lead conversion that I'm going to share with you guys today from that. Again, Jamil, you're spending on Zillow, you might not have that budget and might be way out of your price point, right? And so you might have to shop around, you might have to look around and figure out where you can get the best quality, the most amount of leads. And I don't know if it's quantity versus quality. I think you want a bit of both and try and find a system and process that has a track record that fits within your budget, and then implement a lead conversion system like the one I'm going to share with you today. So moving forward, 11% conversion. We all know the most important rule of thumb with online lead conversion, and it will never change, is speed to lead. And you've heard it over and over and over again, Annette. Under 5-minute response time, speed to lead. It is always the first agent and the last agent that's sticking around that always wins the lead. Okay, always the first, but also the last when they're ready and when they put their hand up to do business. Okay, so you have to be patient, but you have to be quick. Okay, so something that is not a good combination for most realtors and trades is they're quick and they're patient. Usually if you're quick, you're impatient, and usually if you're impatient, you're not quick, kind of thing. So it's kind of an oxymoron, but the reality is that we always need to be focused that you need to be first. You need to understand that there are 10 or 11 other websites and 10 or 11 web agents that might be vying for this particular lead in that. So I'm going to be the quickest. I'm going to try to be the quickest, and I'm also going to try and be the last, so that I'm around when they put their hand up and when they have that zero moment of truth that Google says that I'm there when they're putting their hand up, okay? Because they don't respond to me in the first 10 to 12 or 14 days doesn't mean they're not a legit lead, guys. It's just that they're not in the process, in the cycle, in their timing that they're ready to put their hand up. They're still in that research and development phase and the early stages of their process. And reality is, I think the statistic is around 10-month process on average for an internet-powered consumer. So just because they don't respond to me in the first 2 weeks doesn't mean that they're not legit and that they wouldn't come around 10 months later. Sometimes you'll see people putting their hands up 10, 12, 14 months later. I can't explain it, but you got to be the first and you got to be the last, and you got to be patient. You got to be quick. Okay. All right. And you got to understand it is what it is. Okay. So in that first 2 weeks in the speed to lead, you're calling them, you're texting them, or you're video texting them, you're emailing them, or you're video emailing them, and you're doing all of these under 5 minutes. And you're saying to Wade, what? I got to do all these things? Yes, you do. But there are CRMs, there are contact management systems specifically for internet-powered consumers and agents that can do most of these for you automatically and systematically for you. So all you're left with is just making the phone call. Okay. So question is, why do I have to call? Why do I have to text and video text? Why do I have to email and video email? The reason being is that they could be any certain demographic, any certain type of consumer, and we don't know what their preferred method of communication is. And so I'm going to have to try all of these until I get them to put their hand up. And once they respond to me by phone call, respond to me by text, respond to me by email, then I know the method that they choose to respond to me when they're ready and put their hand up is their preferred method of communication. But I don't know what their preferred method of communication is until they actually respond to me. And some of them may not respond to me in the first 2 weeks. Some of them may respond to me 10, 12, 14 months later. But at the end of the day, I'm going to stick around and I'm going to follow up and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to be quick, and I'm going to use multi-modalities of communication methods until I understand and until I discover what their preferred method of communication is in response to me, okay? Now, the biggest game changer and the biggest thing for lead conversion is video, guys, okay? But first and foremost, I don't get a kickback. I don't get any affiliate fees or anything like that, any special bonuses for shout out, but the one internet consumer empowered CRM system that is one of the best on the system, and it comes from Chris Smith's book, the Conversion Code, and other professional trainers in this realm, and that they all shout out Follow Up Boss, Follow Up Boss, Follow Up Boss. And what Follow Up Boss does is it allows the automated process and the systemized process of taking care of all the other touches except for the phone call. And you can make the phone call through the CRM as well as the internet lead comes into this CRM system with Follow Up Boss. So I'm going to tell you this, if you're going to play in this arena, the CRM of choice, I believe, is Follow Up Boss, because it already does all the follow-up on the texting and the emailing and only allows me and leaves me with the phone call to make instead of all three touches, okay? That's what I like about it. It's automated, systemized.
Wait, you can auto set it for it to accept the lead. It's going to text them right away.
Yes, and email them. And then
email them right away?
Yeah, and then all you're left with is the phone call, man. So you're already got 2 of the 3 taken care of you under 5 minutes, and you're left with just making that phone call now.
What about pre-set videos that look like I just made them?
100%. We're going to do that next, so you're leading me into that. So at the end of the day, it's important to be fast, but it's also important that you got to build trust, and you got to be able to come across as somebody you like and somebody you trust. Okay? So texting, I can't tell from a text whether I like you or trust you. Emailing, I can't tell whether I trust and like you, right, and want to do business with you from that. But video, I can, right? So video is now the most powerful online lead conversion and secret weapon for online internet empowered agents. And here's why. 86% of the communication is nonverbal, meaning it's tone, eye contact, body language, voice inflection. And the only source or the only thing could do was a video text or a video email, which the system called BombBomb, again, I don't get any kickback or bonus fees or anything like that promoting BombBomb, but BombBomb allows me to video text, it allows me to video email, and gives me a chance, you guys, to get in front of these people through tone and eye and contact and body language and voice inflection to tell, this guy seems pretty nice. She seems pretty cool. She seems like that. And that is what I find is the key is that you said this earlier, Jamil, you record these video texts, you record these video emails of these value adds that you offer them, and then you have them sent out through Follow Up Boss automatically. And so they get to tell whether they can trust you or like you or somebody that seems literally pretty cool. And that only happens through a video text or a video email. And that can happen automatically, like building them in advance through BombBomb. So what do I build in advance? Video number 1. And take a note of this picture on this slide here, you guys. You see this girl here? She has a whiteboard. And I didn't understand the power of the whiteboard. But when the video email or the video text comes in, the freeze shot will show the message of the value proposition on the whiteboard, and your click and watch rate will jump exponentially if your message on this whiteboard is strong enough. Okay, so imagine every time I record a video or a text email and that, or a text video, I'm going to use my whiteboard. Okay, so on my whiteboard, I'm going to say my name, Wade Webb, on my whiteboard with my smiling face, and I'm going to make an introduction message thanking them for visiting my website, letting them know who I am, letting them know that I'm here to help, and thanking them for coming on, and just letting them know. And if they need some help and they need somebody to help them and they don't have an agent of choice, just click reply below and let me know if I can help you. I just want to let you know my name is Wade and this is what I do and who I am, and get a taste for it, and do that in a quick 30-60 second video or video text, and shout out and put my name on the whiteboard. And I'll increase my click watch ratio and numbers by having my name and a message written on that whiteboard. Message video number 2 or text number 2 is, I'll put their name on the whiteboard. Tell me, anybody in this call right now wouldn't click on a video text or a video email if you saw your name on my whiteboard with my smiling face on there? Tell me you wouldn't click on it. Tell me you wouldn't watch it. Okay? So again, your name is on the whiteboard saying, hey, I just wanted to make sure that it's Susan out there, Susan Jones, this is Wade, I just wanted to introduce myself. Let me know if you got my first message, let me know. And this is day 2 message. So day 1 is introducing myself. Day 2 is checking in and just making sure it's Susan Jones on the other end, and that I'm talking to Susan and Susan's out there, and I'm just making sure I'm following up and introducing myself and making a connection with you and your name. Video number 3 would be a small whiteboard.
Hey, real quick.
Yes, please.
I have a question for the if you get a new lead today.
Yes.
And it's Wade, and then tomorrow it's Joe.
Yes.
How are you gonna change the board? Are you just doing the first video message and then the other ones are templated, or?
The other ones are templated, and you're just doing the first one's original, correct?
The first one, the original is just the first one.
100%.
Every other video is sent out, right?
So the only one that's custom is the client's name. So if you want to move the custom client name message later on down the line, Jamil, you can, or you can put it at the number 1. Whatever works best for you. You could just use template, and you could mix it into the mix, and you could put it number 5. You could do day 5. You could do day 1. You could do day 10. You could do day 6, and that. Whatever feels best for you and your system and your process and the time you have. Okay?
Yeah.
Everything else is templated except for the consumer's name message. That's it. Good question. So I'll have another one confirming on the whiteboard the area they're looking in, and explain to them the challenges that consumers have with not being able to identify the right areas, and that there's so many areas and so many different things that affect areas. And if you'd like to talk more about area and the area you're looking for and where you should be looking, please reply below and contact me. Day 4, I'm talking about writing on there and writing on a website that they can go to where they can see other listings and other things. So I'm promoting my website. Hey, go to wadeweb.com and see more listings and more properties than that. And there's tons of tips and videos and ideas and that could help you about buying process, selling process, and tons of information that isn't on the website that you visited. But go to this website, you may find this website helpful. Okay? Then I might put a quick message on there just checking in. Hey, have you got the last 4 days of messages? Are you still getting my messages? Have your plans changed? Have things changed up? Just click below and say, no thanks, don't need your help. Or, yeah, I'm still on board, I'm still looking, I just need more time. And so I'm doing a check-in message on day 5. Day 6, I'm saying, can I send you a hot list of the top picks based on your initial search criteria? And can I switch up and tweak your search criteria? Click reply below and see if I can do that. And then I'll send them new listings and sales that they told me they were searching for, or I might send them a buyer's program, or I might sell them a seller's program. I might send them school info. I might sell them the buying process. I might sell them selling process. Like, each message is a value add message and something that they want and need that I'm providing to them. And all I'm needing them to do is click reply below and I'll send it. Click reply yes below. Another message would be, hey, I'm aware of other properties other than one you're looking at. Would you be interested in seeing the one that you inquired on and the 2 other ones that I know that I'm aware of? Just click below and let me know, reply yes, and the day and time that you'd like me to meet with you to show you those other 2 homes that I know that are similar to the one that you acquired on originally. Okay, so I'm just changing the messaging, changing the process, and always making sure that it has access. One of my messages will be that I have shadow inventory, access to shadow inventory. That's properties that are for sale but not on the MLS. And click below and reply and let me know if you're interested in that. I have a system that you can beat other buyers to new listings. If you want to know how to get on that system, click reply and let me know below. Now, day 11, you have solutions to the buyer challenges. Are these your challenges? And I have solutions to these. Ask me about my Platinum Buyers Plan. Day 12, I could give you a list of trades and people and service providers and different electricians and plumbers and contractors and things like that. Let me know if you'd like my directory of service providers and trades. Let me know if you'd like the information on schools. Let me know if you'd like to see more photos on other listings, that you're inquiring on. I just keep adding value. Okay, so I do this, guys, for 12 to 14 days. Now, if they do not put their hand up, they do not respond to my messages, my video messages, and my video texting, all I know is this. I know that they are not low-lying fruit, and they are well early in their stages of looking, and so I'm just going to put them into an auto email drip system, which is already built into Follow Up Boss. And I'm going to drip email them and let that system take care of them now for the next 10 months, 12 months, right? So all I did was use the video texting and the video emailing to identify my low-lying fruit and people that responded to me and put their hand up in the first 12, 14 days. It doesn't mean they're a bad lead. It just means that now they haven't put their hand up. They're not ready and they're too early in the stages of buying right now or selling right now. So I'm just going to let the automated drip system and Follow Up Boss continue to maintain communication with them. And then 10, 14 months later, they put their hand up and they're like, "Hi, Wade." And you're like, "Where the heck have you been?" Well, where they've been is that they were finally reached the point in the time where they're ready to do something, and they weren't ready to do something for the last 10 months. Well, that's not my problem, right? Then that's where you have to be patient with them and understand with them that you will never understand. The low-lying fruit will respond to my 10 or 12-day video campaign, okay? And they'll put their hand up. The people that are not ready, they will respond 10, 12 months later. Can't explain it, don't understand it, but it just is what it is, and understanding how to do this and how to do the follow-up is incredibly important, and it's the game changer for doing that. So these are some of the messages that I would create video texting and video emailing wise. If I don't get a hand up, that's okay. I don't give up. I put them into an auto drip system and let that system take care of itself. Okay? 10, 14 months later, now I'm getting people putting their hands up. They're reaching out, and you don't even question where they've been. You know that they've been doing their thing for the last couple months, but I know I was the first guy and I know I was the last guy, and that's why I'm getting the leads, and that's why I'm getting the conversion we're looking at. Okay, so my top team, they will swear that 86% of their success of their 11% conversion is video, 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 and the whiteboard, guys. That is the game-changing solution. Now, one other cool little technique here, tip is anybody heard of Calendly? Okay.
Yes.
So it's an app that I can actually push appointments to the consumers. So I could push Calendly out in the first 12, 14 days to make a showing appointment on a listing, to make an appointment in the office to come and see me. And so this team is using Calendly to push anonymous and consumer empowered consumers to book appointments for showings and book appointments to meet in the office and that. And what Calendly is so cool, because what's happening is that they're just giving choice and options in that. And a lot of times, if it's anonymous using an app like Calendly, they're getting office appointments and they're getting showing appointments by having Calendly do the job for them versus their video texts and their video emails and that. So again, the low-lying fruit will respond to the video texting and the video emailing if they're ready. The low-lying fruit will respond to a push appointment notification using the app Calendly and make an appointment to see something or a property, a listing that they want to see with you through Calendly or meeting you in the office. That's another little secret weapon that you could use to add to your arsenal of your lead conversion, is using the app Calendly. What's cool about it is it automatically syncs with your calendar, and it'll only offer them days and times when your calendar's open, not days and times that you already have appointments in your calendar. And so I've seen the teams that people show up at the office and they've made the appointment with Calendly, and they didn't know that they made the appointment or it didn't work, and they just pretend that they had the Calendly appointment in there, sit them down in a client room and talk to them, and they've converted leads just by having people. Like, how cool is it that an app that could create showing appointments for you and office appointments for you, and you don't even have to do the lifting? The app does the lifting and appointment setting for you. Any questions about Calendly?
Question, Wade.
Yeah, please.
So the and I know we're over time, but
No problem.
if you already have leads that you're
Yes.
emailing and you're already talking to them, what do you do with those leads?
Okay, so are you talking to them or are they just still incubating?
No, they're in the email drip.
Yeah? Okay, so if they're still incubated, a lot of times I'll do this. I'm going to ask them to update their search parameters, or I'm going to cut them off. And when I threaten to cut them off or update their search parameter, they always respond to update my search parameter to this, this, and this. I'm still looking. Or it feels like you're not there, so I'm just checking in. Are you still there? Because I'm going to unplug the drip and unplug the system. And I just wanted to check in if you wanted to update or if you wanted to continue, or should I just take you off the list and that? And so sometimes I'll do that. Now, do I take them off? No. I just want to see if they're still out there and they're still out there in the universe.
So, well, that's good, but also, do you just throw them in the follow-up boss and the bomb? Or
Yes.
You just do that for anybody new?
100%, man. You throw them in.
Just throw them in there.
Yeah, so you're using Calendly and BombBomb videos and BombBomb text to try and convert them the first 12, 14 days. If Calendly doesn't work, if BombBomb video text and videos don't work to get a reply and there's no hand up yet, then I'm not going to give up. I'm just going to stick them into the follow-up boss drip email system, and then every couple months I'm going to threaten to do an upgrade or take them off, and I get a ton of response by saying I'm going to shut them down, or would you like to let me know you're still good, or would you like to upgrade your search?
Yeah.
That's a simple little email to add to your drip campaign as a check-in to see who's still out there and who's still legit and who's still real in your drip world and in your automated system there, if that makes sense, Gmail.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
So throw that out there. Let people know that, hey, it's been a while. I just was going to shut things down, but hey, I don't have to shut things down. If you're still out there, just fire me back a quick note. Keep things going, please. Or yeah, update the search to this. Or yeah, no problem. Take me off. I'm good. Right. But I do a check-in every couple months with your list that's in the automated list. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good question. Good question. All right. So we've got this. We got to be consistent. We got to do the 10 to 14 days and follow up. Right. We've got to do that. We've got to be patient with that moment of truth. If we don't hear from them, put them in a drip. Be patient and relax. We're only trying to qualify the low-lying fruit and then the long-term fruit. And it doesn't matter if they're low or they're long. We just need to quickly identify. And if you do a good job, you'll do a better job of getting people putting their hand up sooner than later. And so you'll find where the low-lying fruit is not as much as you think, but the long-term fruit comes around and you don't understand it, but they just do. They just come around. Okay? Can't explain it. One last thing I want to share with everybody here is when you do get somebody responding, you need to internalize and memorize the universal script for online leads. Okay, this is an acronym called LP Mama. Okay, so you're dialoguing them and really breaking down and really probing on their location. Okay, and really trying to identify the locations then there, and we're just questioning and talking location. Then I move on and transition into price and price, and dialogue and probe and dig and talk about and question about their pricing. Then I probe onto their motivation and why they want to buy and what they're going to do if they don't sell and what are they going to do why they need to buy in that. And so we deal on the location, we probe on their price, we probe on their motivation, and then the A stands for assume. And so I love this dialogue where I say, hey, I can only assume that you don't have an agent of choice because you're out here doing this all on your own and looking on your own. Would that be the case, that you don't have an agent of choice? So stop asking if they're working with another agent and use this assume dialogue and script where you're saying, I can only assume you don't have an agent of choice because you're out here and you're looking at multiple websites and you're all on your own here. And if you're working with me, you wouldn't have to do all this work. So I can only assume you don't have an agent of choice. Is that the case? Okay. And then I'll move into are they paying all cash? Are they requiring financing? And who's that financing with? And then at the end of the day, I'd love an opportunity, no pressure, no obligation to get together and meet face to face so I can help them with the buying process or help them with the selling process. Okay. So if you learn this script, LP Mama, location, price, motivation, assume, mortgage, and appointment. Okay, you can get this, and this is how you convert them from putting their hand up to a face-to-face appointment, is using the Universal Online Lead Script and using this acronym LP Mama. Okay, it works fantastic. If you follow it and you have it in front of you and you probe and dialogue and question and Q&A, you will end up leading them to a face-to-face appointment. So here's my action steps from today's webinar, you guys. First things first, look at your budget. Okay, pick a budget, set a budget. Then you've got to figure out what lead gen program, right, you want to activate based on your budget and based on what you can afford. So set a budget, plan your budget, needs to be long-term, 1 year. Find a lead gen source and a program and a company that you can play in that arena and that you can activate based on what your budget is. If you don't have a budget for this, then forget it. So bad for the sorry for wasting your time on the internet lead webinar today. Now, I'm going to tell you, use Follow Up Boss. I don't get a kickback or anything like that, but the reality is that it eliminates 2 of the 3 under 5-minute touches, and it just leaves you with a phone call. And then the next thing is sign up to BombBomb. Use the BombBomb. Send video texts, send video emails. It's the secret weapon. They can tell if they like you, they trust you, and you're somebody that wants to do business with through a text or a video email, not through a phone call, not through a blank email or a blank text, okay? And then next thing I would suggest setting up Calendly, and in the first 2 weeks trying to push for showing appointments on properties and try and push for office meeting appointments using the Calendly app, okay? Now, the video texts don't work, the video emails don't work, the phone calls don't work, the Calendly doesn't work, then put them into the email drip of Follow Up Boss and nurture that and incubate that lead and work it for the next 10 or 12, 14 months and watch what happens, okay? Now, when you get somebody to put their hand up, you need to be money and internalize and memorize and use the LP Mama script and turn that lead into a face-to-face appointment, to dialogue with them, probe with them, dig with them, and say, you know, I would love the opportunity to meet with you and help you and show you how I save people time, money, and stress. When's a good time for you? Close for that appointment and get that face-to-face conversion and get that face-to-face appointment and convert that lead from online to a face-to-face, okay? Any questions, comments on that? There's your action steps: a budget, find the program, CRM, Follow Up Boss, BombBomb for video, email, text, Calendly for push showings and push appointments, memorize the LP Mama script. This is how my top coaching clients are converting in that 10, 11% arena versus the industry average at 1.5% and 2% out there, guys. These are the secret weapons they're using to have lead conversion instead of lead gen. Any questions, comments, or anything I can do for closing, guys?
Nope.
Thank you, Wade.
That's everything.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Wade.
Awesome. So I'm going to encourage you. Don't let these ideas fall on deaf ears. Don't continue to blow money on leads. If you have leads and they're still in place, take this system and incubate it and go back and hammer your leads with this system and this process and see where you're at, and realize that just because they didn't respond doesn't mean they're not a legit lead. It just means that they're just too early in the process, and you gotta be patient. Got to be patient, okay? Be first, be patient, be last, right? Kill them with kindness, add value, and your conversion rate will jump up, I promise, okay? Have an awesome week, guys. Thanks for everybody's time. All right, all the best. Take care, you guys. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Bye.